Breaking from the Dollar Ridge fire tonight, a bold move by Governor Herbert, more evacuations issued. We've got team coverage for you.
We are there side by side with families as they watch their dream cabins go up in smoke.
Red flag warnings extended. I'll show you when the winds do die down and when the temperatures rise.
I want to be like my daddy.
They leave their homes and loved ones to protect yours. Why fighting wildfires isn't just from the front lines. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is day 3 of the Dollar Ridge fire, and there is no end in sight for firefighters on the mountains. Meanwhile, a new move from Governor Herbert to try and stop even more fires from burning. In just the last hour, Governor Herbert issued an executive order. He is declaring a state of emergency for the entire state of Utah for wildland fire management. This is in effect the entire month of July. Now, meanwhile, we do want to give you a look at the latest evacuation zone. This is what you can see right here. This is the Dollar Ridge fire and the area that's been evacuated at this point. Fire officials want you to take these evacuation orders seriously. They say if you violate them, you could face up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. Tonight, we do have team coverage on this fire. Sterling Polson is tracking the weather conditions that are making these fights for the firefighters difficult. Chris Jones talking to people that lost their homes. First, though, we go to Mark Cabell. He's live in Duchesne County with the very latest on the new voluntary evacuations in that area tonight. Mark?
Thanks, Heidi. Yes, it's been a very busy day today and another frustrating one for firefighters. Now, Wasatch Sheriff's Office today asking Utah Emergency Management to put in some voluntary evacuations. Now, we have those areas for you on a map. Take a look. It's the Pine Hollow area, Aspen Grove, the 40 Dam Acre area located east and south of Soldier Creek Dam. Now, residents and people who are camping in that area or who have campers are being told that in case these become mandatory evacuations, they should be prepared to leave at a moment's notice. Now, the very latest on the fire tonight. We bring you up to date. More than 30,000 acres plus burned, no containment. Now, we're 3 days into this firefight right now, and firefighters have not been able to make a dent in this fire. Fire officials say there was increased fire activity today. With that increased fire activity and the winds, they're afraid that more structures have gone up in flames in this fire. Now, some good news about tomorrow. Water scoopers are being brought in. Those actually pick up water from lakes and drop it on the fire. We're also going to have an aerial attack. We're going to have planes in the area dropping retardant tomorrow, and we're also going to have some bulldozers that are going to try to make some fire lines around some parts of the fire. So that's the very latest on the fire. Now, we talked about the possibility of more structures burning today because of the increased fire activity and the winds. Chris Jones has been keeping an eye on that tonight. Chris was able to talk with fire officials, and he's been kind of driving around talking with some people that have lost their homes. Chris?
Well, Mark, I got to tell you, talking to the people out here, there is honestly a sense of hopelessness today. That is because this fire has been so erratic. That means they haven't been able to put as much aircraft into the sky. They haven't been able to get many fire crews close to the fire. And that means that many of the people who are staying here at this LDS church have lost their dreams as the hillside has burned up.
It's watching a dream go up in smoke.
The Dollar Ridge fire is, for now, invincible.
It's very difficult to have any impact at all on the fire.
A 30,000-acre behemoth that has chewed through dozens of homes.
A lot of fairly dramatic fire activity.
We watched as this line of fire marched down a hillside and leveled at least 2 cabins.
What do you think? This is remarkable.
This is just incredible.
Look, through the haze, you can see this A-frame fully engulfed.
It's difficult to watch a part of people's lives go up.
I come up and it's gone.
Gloria Dearden's cabin is one of those. This morning she felt that her place had dodged the fire. But then this swirling, unpredictable mess turned and swallowed up her retreat.
It's hard. Your little space, your little sanctuary from the real world, and it's gone.
We built it in 1999.
This is Carolyn Davis's cabin. She's pretty certain it'll be gone by nightfall.
We had it for 19 years. We have lots of memories, and those can never go away.
Tonight, there were some small victories. These firefighting pilots dropped water directly on a cabin in harm's way. Perhaps it will survive.
It does not look good. It doesn't look good at all.
But that is little consolation for a community who feels all they can do is sit and watch helplessly.
It's sad. It's sad.
And to give you an idea of how difficult this fire has been, usually at this stage in the game, fire crews have a pretty good idea about how big the fire is. Because of the size of this fire, they're not able to get an exact read on exactly how many acres the fire is. They're also not able to get a read on how many structures have gone up in flames. All they can tell us at this hour is that dozens of homes have been destroyed. Guys, back to you.
All right, Chris, thanks. Our hearts go out to those people tonight. Still a lot of people in fear that they could lose their homes. Well, tonight, Duchesne High School was filled with volunteers. They are handing out supplies, cooking chicken, handing out bottles of water. Volunteers have been manning the grills there, making sure that nobody goes hungry. Red Cross officials also saying they currently don't need any more volunteers at this time because the response has been overwhelming.
Either you know somebody or you know their wife or you know their husband. We're all related one way or another, so we're all friends.
Yep, all friends and all family pitching in, helping each other in the small town of Duchesne today. The Red Cross does want those who have been evacuated to go down to Duchesne High School and actually register with them. Sign up, because once they have your name and your information, they can check on you in the future just in case they need to provide you with any services. Now, the big thing about tomorrow is getting a handle on this fire somehow. We want to go to Sterling. He's keeping an eye on the winds and what they're going to be doing tomorrow and just how the firefighting effort might be able to improve, if at all.
Well, Mark, it is going to improve. In fact, I noticed right where you were standing, those weeds behind you there, they're barely moving. So the winds have calmed down considerably across this region. Of course, in the fire area, the fire makes its own wind, but the general winds, the wind patterns are going to relax a little bit over the next couple of days. And you can see tonight we've got low wind speeds, less than 10 miles an hour across that region. So temperature change, yes, we've got about a 5-degree temperature change in Provo. You can see the temperatures are cooler off to the northwest, Price 4 degrees cooler. So the temperatures have cooled down a little bit, the winds have died down a little bit, and we're going to continue to see that trend for another 12 hours as far as the temperature staying pretty steady, the winds dying down, and it looks like we will continue to see improving weather conditions as far as firefighting. But the fire weather warning now covers most of the state except the far eastern part of the state where it has been taken down. We'll have more about your weekend coming up and the 4th of July forecast in my forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Sterling. Stay with KUTV as we follow all of these wildfires burning across the state. We'll have another live update for you from here in Duchesne County coming up in less than 10 minutes here on 2 News at 10. The latest updates and for all the new information, you can always go to our website, KUTV.com.
Well, firefighters are off battling fires all around the state. We wanted to pause for a moment to remember the families that they're leaving behind to help protect others. Brona Tumulty sat down tonight with the wife of a Heber City firefighter who's all too familiar with hoping and praying the father of her 2 little boys will be back home safe. Brona?
Yeah, Heidi, he is currently running on very little sleep. He's helping to fight the Dollar Ridge fire, and while he is able to get home at night, that sometimes isn't happening until 2 in the morning. He's up again at 4 a.m. to do it all over again. Warren Abraham is just 6 years old.
I'm going to graduate to 1st grade.
But knows exactly what he wants to be.
I want to be a forester.
When he grows up.
I want to be like my daddy.
His daddy is PJ Abraham.
Be area forester for the state of Utah.
But he can't be home with these guys.
Right now they're on the Dollar Ridge fire.
Because wildfire season is underway.
He sent me a message and he's like, hey, I'm leaving.
Sally, his wife,
it's the reality that we deal with.
Knows all too well.
You just keep your chin up and keep going.
The worry that he won't return.
We have a rule in our household that he has to kiss me awake when he gets home.
When he leaves his loved ones to protect yours.
I get a lot of questions about where Dad is at and what he's up to.
And while the holiday tomorrow,
it's 4th of July,
may offer some relief.
Hopefully releasing him because we need our local firefighters available.
And some much needed dad time.
It would mean a lot. I'll tell him he's a great guy and I love him.
The fear is always there that the next blaze is just a firework away.
Some poor firefighter's wife is going to be waking up to the awful sound of that pager and they don't know if that husband's going to be coming back.
Now, PJ will be helping to battle fires through wildfire season, and when that is over, he has a number of other duties to carry out, including educating property owners about how to protect their lands from wildfire. Send it back to you guys.
All right, good insight for all of us, Brona. There are new fire restrictions now in effect in Summit County. Fireworks are now banned in that county except for professional fireworks shows. Open burns, cigarette smoking, and welding are also restricted. For the very latest fire restrictions in your area, go to KUTV.com. Well, tonight we are learning details about the man that drowned in the Provo River today. Jeremy Harris was there when the water rescue team recovered his body. Jeremy, do we know anything about the victim tonight?
Well, what we know, Heidi, is that he is from Florida and that he did have a life jacket on before he got into the river today. Sheriff's officials say that the current was so strong it actually ripped that life vest from him. They say it shows how dangerous the water can be right now.
Provo Kagan, where the train crosses over the Provo River.
Emergency crews raced to the Provo River.
They witnessed a kayak come out without him.
Knowing a kayaker was under the water.
Down where all the tubes usually crash.
Shortly after they got here,
we've got him under.
They found the man's body underneath this railroad crossing near the Utah-Wasatch County line.
The current, the strength of the water kept him under one of the trestles of the bridge.
After an hour, the crews recovered the body from the water. Sheriff's officials say the man was on the river with his family who was on vacation. He was wearing a life vest.
These folks did a lot of things that were right.
But the vest was no match for the ripping current.
It's bumping pretty good. This is a summer flow.
Sloan Kettering is a fishing guide who says this spot is a dangerous one.
3 or 4 years ago, someone did the same thing, and I was actually guiding right there and had to jump in and grab a kid.
River guides tell kayakers to get out of the water before the bridge and then get back in on the other side. Witness accounts say the man tried to do just that.
These folks did as much as they could that was correct.
But even with those precautions, the holiday trip to the river ended in tragedy.
I hate to hear that anyone would ever drown on this river since it's, my home water.
Sheriff's officials tell me that the family also had taken with them other people who were familiar with the river. So they say really they did everything right. Unfortunately, though, that particular spot is a rough one, and those hikers or anybody on that river is suggested to get out and get back in. Tonight, his name has not been released. Sheriff's officials say that may come out tomorrow. Back to you.
Well, the battle will intensify tomorrow to fight the Dollar Ridge fire. There are reinforcements coming. We'll tell you who they are and when they get here.
Summer gas prices means a higher price at the pump for all of us. How much it's costing you over the 4th of July holiday.
Well, did you know that there's been an accident on a vehicle? And I thought, no, there's no way.
When you buy a used car, how do you check to see if it's been in an accident? One woman says she got a report on her car, but it was wrong. What Matt Gephardt found out when we get back.
Just wanted to give you a recap of what we can expect tomorrow when firefighting efforts kick back up in the morning. There are going to be some positive aspects tomorrow. Sterling says the winds are not going to be quite as high as they were yesterday. That should help firefighters in the firefighting effort. There'll be water drops. We already saw them dropping retardant here today earlier. They'll be back tomorrow, but also they'll be scooping up water from those lakes. They call those scoopers. They'll be dropping that water on the fire as well. Some bulldozers will be coming in the morning. They'll be on standby. When they can get up closer to the fire, they'll try to make some fire lines and try to stop that fire from spreading. That's all expected to happen tomorrow. One last thing, if you have been evacuated and evacuations have been increasing throughout the day, please go to Duchesne High School and sign in with the Red Cross so they have your information. Don't forget our continuing coverage. We're going to watch this fire overnight. We'll have all the very latest for you on our website, KUTV.com. But don't forget the morning team. They'll be with you bright and early beginning at 4:25.
Mark, thanks. Summer is in full swing, and that means gas prices are high. The national average price for a gallon of unleaded, it's about $2.86. AAA reporting that about 63 cents higher than it was a year ago. Higher oil prices could be to blame here. Gas Buddy says the price spike since last year is likely to cause motorists about $1 billion in extra gas spending over the usual 4-day travel period. When you go to buy a used car, the question is, how do you know the car you're getting has never been in an accident? Many dealers will give you a car history report to put your mind at ease, but what happens if that report is wrong? A Heber City woman said that's what happened to her, and she decided it was time to get Gephardt.
When Mandy Hess bought this used SUV several years ago, it came with peace of mind that it had never been in a wreck.
Auto checks It says that it's never been in an accident, so we thought, we're good.
But when Mandy tried to sell the car 3 years later, shock.
It in and they said, well, did you know that there's been an accident on the vehicle? And we thought, no, there's no way.
But sure enough, take a look. The Carfax report shows that the SUV had been in a wreck back in September of 2013. That's long before Mandy bought the car. And it's a wreck that is clearly missing from the AutoCheck vehicle history report.
The AutoCheck, we got a current one, and it still says it's been in no accident, but Carfax says it has.
Frustrated and now out thousands of dollars in resale value, Mandy decided it was time to call me. Nobody from AutoCheck wanted to talk about this on camera, but in a statement wrote, quote, AutoCheck receives its accident data from government sources and independent agencies. And they say whoever reported the accident to Carfax, quote, did not report it to us.
They're not always 100% accurate.
I took Mandy's issue to Consumer Reports auto writer Mike Quincy, who says, keep in mind, there are lots of car repairs that will never show up on a vehicle history report. For example, if somebody gets in a small wreck and decides to do the repair themselves, maybe leave insurance out of it, that wouldn't show up on a report. Also, not all mechanics and body shops will report the repairs that they make. Plus, there's always, of course, human error.
I mean, honestly, it's only as accurate as the person keying in the information in all of their databases and their electronic forms.
So how do you protect yourself?
Ask the owner of the car to allow you to take it to your mechanic so they can put it up on the lifters and look underneath.
AutoCheck agrees, writing, quote, it has long been our philosophy that vehicle history reports should only be one step in the pre-owned vehicle purchasing process. Adding shoppers should, quote, physically inspect the vehicle using a licensed mechanic.
I feel like I've been taken advantage of.
It's good advice that's now too late for Mandy. She is stuck with a vehicle she'd rather not have and missing the trade-in value that she needs in order to get another one. And you know, it's not just AutoCheck and Carfax that do these types of reports. According to the Motor Vehicle Title Information System, there are lots of companies that will sell them to you. But as you just learned, no one report guaranteed to be better than another. If you've got something you want me to investigate, give me a call. My number, 801-839-1250, or you can email me, gephardt@kutv.tv.
Time now to talk about the all-important holiday forecast. We go into this holiday in fireworks, Sterling, as we're talking about the governor putting us under a state of emergency.
Yeah, and the winds today gusting quite a bit. Check it out. Duchesne up to 34 miles an hour, but look at Helper. They had wind gusts of 56 miles an hour. Manila up at Flaming Gorge 61 miles an hour. Price almost 50 miles an hour. Rock Springs 46. And Vernal did have a wind gust of 53 miles per hour today. So here's the forecast. We're going to walk you through it. It's pretty quiet tonight, although Price has still got a little bit of a 16 mile an hour wind there. But this is tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Good situation has developed for tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, yes, it gets a little strong again, but not, look at this, 10, 5, 12, nothing like we saw today. The strongest winds are over in Nevada. And then we move forward to Thursday morning, very calm again. So they should be able to get a handle in the fire in the overnight hours for the next 2 nights at least. And the temperatures will start to climb, though. We do have a heat wave on tap. As the winds die down, the temperatures are going to climb, and we may start to see a little moisture in our forecast coming next week. This is a satellite picture of the Dollar Ridge fire, and you can just see that smoke plume in the afternoons. It builds up the most, and it's kind of split. It looks like it might be split into 2 separate fires, but they'll get a better handle on that tomorrow. This the stationary front is going to just kind of fizzle out. In fact, we'll show you that. It fizzles out, and then we start to see just a beautiful weather pattern. We'll start to see a little moisture maybe sneaking up from the south. That would be nice to maybe get a few rain showers, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any rain until possibly Sunday or Monday. So 4th of July is going to be sunny, hot. It's going to feel like the 4th of July, but please be careful with the fireworks. We've said that over and over and over again. And let's have a little fun. Bear Lake 85, East Canyon 91, Pineview 93. Lots of sunshine in every place you go tomorrow. Should be lots of sunshine, except maybe a few clouds around Strawberry Reservoir and some smoke. Flaming Gorge 90 degrees, Starvation 94. And as we move into Fish Lake down in central Utah, perfect weather, sunshine, lots of 90s and 80s. Fish Lake 83, that's pretty warm for those folks. Lake Powell, though, will be 100 degrees. Cedar Breaks 72, that's a nice cool place to be for your July 4th. A lot of people like to have the cooler weather in the higher elevations. Here's a 7-day forecast. Temperatures up to 109 in St. George as we move into Friday. Saturday we start to back it off again, and Sunday and Monday we could actually see a thunder shower or two. We'll kind of track that as we get a little bit closer. And for Salt Lake City, temperatures in the 90s for the next 2 days. And then we're breaking 100 on Friday. Saturday we're at 100, 99 on Sunday, and we'll add a few storms in the forecast Monday and Tuesday. My guaranteed forecast for tomorrow is 95 degrees. And don't forget, it's the KUTV Pops concert. Today's 47 KUTV Pops concert coming up, and I should have a graphic there for you. You can take that. It's at Bravenel Hall, the 13th and 14th of July. And we will have tickets available here at 2 News and also at Dane's Music. You can pick up your tickets. It's a free concert. And if you don't happen to get a ticket, you can come anyway. There will be a standby line. We've got Joshua Creek with the Choral Arts Society of Utah and the West Valley Symphony.
All right, always a good time, Sterling. Thanks. Up next, U.S. allies are launching their own counter tariffs against America. The latest on the escalating trade dispute and how the White House is defending that move. American allies are launching their own counter tariffs against the U.S. That is after the Trump administration slapped tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. Michelle Macaluso has more about the escalating trade dispute and how the administration is now defending that move.
Canada striking back with tariffs on nearly $13 billion worth of American goods on Sunday, taxing U.S. steel and iron and consumer items like ketchup, pizza, and maple syrup. The move comes after the European Union hit back with its own retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. last month, hitting blue jeans, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and bourbon whiskey.
They're trying to send a political message, clearly, and I think it's something that is not necessarily going to work because you're not going to get bourbon except out of Kentucky.
Mark Lauder, former special assistant to President Trump, says the U.S. has been taken advantage by other countries' unfair trade deals and argues the tariffs will level the playing field.
Our workers, our companies are put at risk to benefit European countries or countries in companies in other countries. It's really a form of welfare. They are supporting their industries, growing their industries at the expense of hurting ours.
But both Democrats and Republicans worry the administration's strategy will cause a trade war.
Steel prices are up, aluminum prices are up, manufacturing costs are up, making us less competitive in the global market. Jobs are being lost. This is not a good situation. It can't go on forever.
The way they appear to be doing this is going to have so many unintended consequences for our small businesses, large businesses, and for our farmers, and ultimately consumers.
Trade disputes continue to escalate. President Trump is threatening to slap tariffs on imported autos and trucks. He believes that it will pressure countries to give the U.S. better trade deals, but automakers are already warning that it will hurt the U.S. economy and cost jobs. In Washington, I'm Michelle Macaluso.
The Utah Jazz inked a couple of point guards today as the offseason continues to go well, but the Summer League is the main attraction for the rest of the week. Jazz rookies taking on Memphis when we're talking sports.
Live from 2 News. This is Talkin' Sports.
So 3 different players were listed as out for the Jazz Summer League game with the Spurs tonight. One of them was Grayson Allen, and the reason they listed is rest. And I'm not going to overthink this, but maybe it's a good thing tickets are just 8 bucks. Grizzlies lighting up the Jazz early. Kobe Simmons queuing up a circus shot here. Memphis builds a 26-point lead, 26 points. Third quarter, Jazz on the comeback trail. George Niang with a dunk. He had 18 points. Jazz down 13 points. And then late in the game, Tony Bradley gets loose for the layup and one. He had 18. The Grizzlies' lead is cut down to 2 points. And then a little over 2 minutes to go, Kendrick Ray cans a jumper. The Jazz come from 26 points down to actually take the lead, 86-85. But Wayne Selden answers this mid-range jumper going down. Grizzlies take the lead right back. Memphis hanging on to beat the Jazz, 95-92 final score. The offseason continues to go well for the Utah Jazz brass, who were able to retain a couple of point guards today. Hal Neto has reportedly agreed to a 2-year deal worth $4.4 million. And big news for Dante Exum, who's getting paid. He signs for another 3 years and $33 million. Both Exum and Neto were restricted free agents this offseason. The news comes on the heels of Derek Favors signing a 2-year deal over the weekend.
Quadrado with it. And the header down! There it is! It's that man again, Jerry Mina!
World Cup is pairing England and Colombia. Colombia's Yuri Mina locks the match at 1 apiece as things go to a shootout, and that's where the Brits get it done. Eric Dyer comes through with a dagger. They win it on penalty kicks 4-3. Next up for England, they get Sweden in the round of 8 on Saturday. We'll do a complete World Cup wrap tonight on Talkin' Sports. Flip the switch to My Utah TV. After the news, we've also got Jake Edmonds one-on-one with Kalani Sitake. This summer marks the 10th anniversary of one of the greatest tennis matches ever played, when Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal fought to the death at the All England Club. And now it's the focus of a Tennis Channel documentary. You can see the 8th and 14th of this month on KJazz. Those Jazz preseason games also on KJazz. Filling you up, lots of programming.
Yeah, so much to talk about tonight and so much excitement in the middle of the summer for the Jazz. This is fun.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? That's a big get for our city, and the fans really validate it when they show up in droves like they have the last 2 nights. So kudos to all you at home.
Good news, and we're keeping a close eye on the weather. It's hot.
Absolutely. We'll have an update for you tomorrow morning.
Have a good night.